at that level must be, if it's, anything that significant must come back into the pool. And the pool is a man and his wife. And then whatever you pray, you still don't treat it lightly, especially if your parents are Christians. Sometimes they are non-Christians and they are saying, this challenge people are having there is somebody, there is something. There are different ways that parents want to interfere. So again, it's going to be very easy. What I'm simply going to say is that once you get married, you are a distinct unit and you are no more under the authority and the government of your parents. The only thing you owe them now is what? Honor. Absolutely, is honor. Whether you agree with them or you disagree with them, you do it honorably. Your parents cannot run your home. And in fact, you should make it very clear to them that the less opinion they have about your home, the better for them. That point has to be very clear. Is that okay? Is that okay? The less opinion. Let it be obvious to them that the less opinion they express about your home, the better for them. He that has ears.
So
you have to live with the principle of my times are in your hands, in the hands of God. And that God makes everything beautiful in its time. We have expectations and they are very okay. It's okay to have expectation, but in the end, we must be ready to accept what comes to us from the Lord. And part of our Christian witness and testimony that we waited, that we did not compromise. So I was, the person might need to go and listen to, I can't remember, I think that was probably like on Saturday morning. It may have even come to you as a little bit harsh, because I was saying on Saturday that marriage is not your, for, turning your back on God, because that's not the main reason why you are with God. So the lack of that provision cannot be a good reason to turn your back on God, because it was not the main reason why you're in a relationship with God. And I was saying that in the context of making the main thing the main thing. So, sister, I want to encourage you to say that the vision may be for an appointed time. And even though it tarries, wait for it. It will surely speak and it will not tarry. Your second question, is it okay to put out your portfolio on social media and advertise yourself? I would, should I say that I have no commandment from the Lord, but I speak as one that has obtained mercy? Faithful. I'm going to advise you to do it. My advice is don't do it. All right? That's my advice. My advice is don't do it. And I'm not saying that because it cannot lead to something. That's not why I'm saying so. I'm just saying so as a matter of principle. That's a matter of principle. It reeks of, desperation. It reeks of not trusting the Lord. It's so simple advice: don't do it. Don't do it. I do not think that that is a Christian. I do not think that it is Christianly, as a principle, that we can endorse for all. So the fact, it's like what happened with Ruth and Boaz. What happened between Ruth and Boaz worked. But that's not the standard. And it's not recommended. It's not the principle. That's not how people should go about getting married. It's just that in that instance, in that occasion, it worked. And chances are that if that was supposed to be how God wanted them to end up, I'm sure you believe God enough to know that if Ruth didn't do that, since Boaz had already met Ruth on the field, God would have brought Boaz and Ruth together. I mean, it could have even been as simple as Naomi going to meet Boaz. This young lady, this is our custom. She's your destiny. There were different ways that God could have brought them together without having to do what they did. So their coming together may not be that God approved of the means. It may have been that was God wanted actually to have happened. All right? So you may put yourself out on social media. Somebody may do so, and they might come back 2 years to tell you this beautiful story of how he led into marriage and something. The right way to do the wrong thing. There's no right way to do the wrong thing. So I will advise you, don't do it. Final question.
Okay, so the final question here is that can a lady take the fact that she has been single for a long time to mean that marriage isn't the will of God for her life, especially because God has been silent on the matter?
Okay. It's a difficult place. It's a difficult place, and I really shudder to answer, because especially as a lady, because the lady does not have that biblical warrant for initiating marriage proposals and things like that. It can be very, very feeling, which means like there's a sense of helplessness. Like, what can I do? I can't practically do anything, in that sense. So, but my thing is this. You need to keep praying that God will plant conviction in your heart. We've had stories of people that are married at unexpected age of their lives. And some of them will tell you, I always knew. And I held on to the word of God. You held on to the word of God for 30 years. God spoke to you when you were 21. And you held that word for 30 years. And you are getting married at 51. Right? Now, like I said, there are certain burdens, if I may call them burdens, that God asks certain daughters and sons of Zion to carry. Everybody is not called to carry. And because everybody is not called to carry it, everybody really don't have the grace to carry it. I think it's whether Richard Wurmbrand or one of those people that had gone through those extreme persecution, one of them actually did say that martyrdom is a calling. Yes. That there are people that God gives the grace, all right, to bear witness by their life. And so that people should be generous, all right, towards people that do not seem to have the ability to withstand that extreme